How's it going, guys and girls? My name is Oliver and welcome to another Acolyte tutorial. Today we're going to be going over how to make the Fox Stevenson and Ookay Lighthouse ARP from the intro. Earlier on this week we actually made the lead from the drop, but someone wanted to hear how the intro was made, or at least an artist's rendition of it. So let's just take a listen to what the original sounded like, and then we'll take a listen to mine. So playing in 3, 2, 1. So it's just that little, like, it's almost like a vocal kind of ARP. So now we'll play my version of it. Yeah, so you might be able to hear it better now that you know what to listen for. Yeah, it's pretty cool, pretty close. I made it in like 5 minutes of it being requested. I was like, hey, this seems cool. I'll check it out. And yeah, it was not that hard. So yeah, so let's jump right into it. Okay, so as you can see, this is just a single oscillator sound, not too much effects going on, and it's pretty simple. So what you want to do is go into the analog tab, and then the basic MCB, put the unison up to 4, detune at 0.06, level at 14%, and the wavetable position at 146. And that's it for the oscillator. So let's turn off all this stuff. Oops. And we'll hear what it sounds like just dry. Oh yeah. Okay, we'll go over that after. First I'll turn the vibrato down. Cool. Alright, so now into the filter. The first filter is just a low pass. So for the oscillator, the first oscillator, yeah, we have an LFO on the level going up to 43. So you can just hear a little bit of that. Just so you can hear a little bit of that. No. Just to make it a little bit pluckier. Now in the filter, we've got a low pass, a low 12 filter right here. And we've got the cutoff at 667 hertz. And I've got the LFO1 on the cutoff and it's going on either side of it. So you can see here, you can click on this arrow and that basically tells the modulation whether the blue should go on either side of it or just on one side. So if I click this now, then you'll see it only going up. So that's a cool little trick. Yeah, so there's a filter. The resonance is at 18%, fat is at 21%, drive is at 14%, and that is it. Nice. Next is distortion. Not very much, kept it on tube distortion, and put the drive up to 43%. Delay, I put the feedback at 45%, kept the left at 1/4, right at 1/8, and if you drag these up and down, you can set the different timings, like sub timings of, I don't know what you call them. I'm just gonna say sub timings of the beats that are like above it. So this is 1/8 in triplets. So if we turn this off, this is before. And then after, oh, and I put ping pong on, by the way. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And all this is made louder because you have the multiband compressor on after it, which we'll turn on now. Threshold is at negative 12.2 decibels. Release is at 564.7 milliseconds. Multiband is on. And I have the mids turned up all the way, lows down all the way, and highs at 44%. So now we'll play it before and after. Just makes it louder and cleaner and crisper. So normally everything is at 100%. Put them close to 100% so you can hear how it sounds before. But the original sound didn't have as much high end. It sounded more low pass, so I put the high end all the way down. Or no, I put the high end at like 44%, low end all the way down, because you very, very rarely want low end in a pluck like this. And the mids all the way up, because that's usually where you hear most of the low pass frequencies. Cool. Next I have the EQ after the compressor, and I've got two peak, each of them are peak bands. Got the frequency of the first one at 1926 hertz. Q is at 60% and gain is at negative 10 decibels. And then on the second one, it's also a peak. Frequency is at 9,454 hertz, and the Q is at 60, and the gain is at negative 12 decibels. So what this does is it just gives it a little bit more of a vocal feel. Yeah, I guess that would be how you explain it. So this is before, and then after. Yeah. So the reason why I put the gain down on these is because I don't want to be adding to the high end frequencies, but I do want to be manipulating the frequencies where you hear the vocaliness, which is more up here. So instead of boosting the frequencies, I actually put them down. So that's a cool little trick. Last effect we have on is the reverb. So let's listen to that. It just makes it blend in a little bit nicer. So I have the size at 33%, decay at 4.5 seconds, low cut is at 25%, high cut is at 17%, spin I never touch, spin depth is at 30%, which I think is default, and then I have the mix at 36%. Cool. Oh, and so for the modulation on the EQ, I've got LFO1 at 15 going upwards on the first band's frequency, and then negative 40 on the second band's frequency. So the last thing that I did with this is, if you look in the matrix here, so what I did is I took LFO2, kept it on off, turn off BPM so you can access the hertz, set it to a relatively high frequency, so we'll go with 14.2 hertz, and we're going to make it affect the master tuning. So to do this, you go down into global master tuning, and you want to make sure it is on the double arrows here, because if you do just one arrow, here, let's take this off. If you do just one arrow, then the bottom down here, this will be the bass, this will be like the normal note that you mean to play, and this will be like however high above the note you specify in the mixer. And that makes the sound a little bit higher than it's supposed to be, and it can get really hard to like add it into a track. So we're going to keep this on the double arrows, and I've got it up 2. I've got it going up 2. So this is what it sounds like right now. That's cool, but not quite what we're looking for. So I went down. So this box under auxiliary source here, you can access things that let you modulate the modulation a little bit more. I don't know if that's how you say it, but that's the term that I use. It's modulated modulation, dude. So what I did is I routed it to the macro 1, so I can edit how much vibrato is going on just with this knob. So if I play it now, there will be 0 vibrato because I have the knob all the way down. So what I had it at before was about 33%. So you can just hear a little bit of it. So I kind of picked up on that in the original track. So if you listen to his, there's just a little bit of a vibrato there. Yeah. Yeah, so that's that. That's pretty much the sound. Now we'll just go into the mixer track. Perfect. So we've got an EQ on it. You can do this with any EQ. I've got the slope at 96 decibels per octave, and the shape is a low cut band. And nothing with a high end because I don't want to boost the high end too much. And if there's too little to like cut it out. So I just kind of left that as it is. I'm happy with it. So what I was noticing is these frequencies around the 1000 hertz range were a little bit like searing almost compared to what he had done. So I just used this bell with a Q at 3.398 and put it down negative 5.17 decibels at 1120.1 hertz, in case you wanted to remake it exactly how I did it. I took out the bass with that, and it just made it a little bit easier on the ears. So let's listen to it before and after. So you can hear a little bit of the bass in the hit. Now with the EQ on, it just takes away the hit, which you can't hear as much in the actual track. So that's cool. And last thing I did was I opened up the Fruity Stereo Enhancer and I turned it on first, and I just made it a little bit more mono. So I have it at, what do I have it at? Oh, it's not telling me. A pretty mono. Because if you listen to his track, for you to be able to focus on the pluck with everything else going on and it be still that quiet, it needs to be pretty mono. So you tend to focus on whatever sounds like it's at the front of your head, which making something mono kind of has that effect. So let's just listen to his, and we'll hear that he has it a little bit mono with all the other like effects and stuff going on in the background, super wide and pretty quiet. So this ARP is right up there with the drums. Yeah. So that just kind of takes a sound to a new level of professionality? Is that a word? Professionality. We'll go with that. Yeah, so this is it for the sound. Super simple. If you guys enjoyed this tutorial, please remember to like and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video.